Welcome to Davey's Take. Today we're talking about The Brutalist, a new film that's getting a bunch of Oscar buzz that I didn't really know much about. So I guess I'll just kind of leave it at that. But The Brutalist is about a European coming to America, fleeing Europe after World War II, and just building a life in America. And that's like scratching the surface about what this 3.5 hour movie is about. There's so much that goes into this film, but the biggest thing that it captures is that pursuit of the American dream, and that's what the film is really going for. And I gotta say, I really like The Brutalist. I can see why it's getting a lot of Oscar buzz. This film just feels ginormous, like this big epic film, but it's about an architect. But this film is just beautifully shot. It feels huge. I mean, there's this sequence at the beginning of the movie. It's pretty much how the movie opens up. They're on a boat getting to New York. It's just this long shot, and there's so much going on the screen, and it's all captured wonderfully, and it's all crafted so well. This film feels like it has this harnessed energy to it, and it just looks incredible. But yeah, this film has so much to say about pursuing that American dream, your perception of it, but what reality really is. And I really appreciate how brutal this film is. I know it's called The Brutalist, so big shocker, but this film is so brutal, not in that way you would think. It's brutal in this really grounded and realistic way about things that people have to deal with when it comes to diseases or your job and like where you're moving and that type of stuff. The stuff that might not sound super cinematic or interesting, but this film makes it such a point that you're really behind these characters and you understand these struggles, and they feel like they really do fucking suck. And I've been saying this film is crafted so well, but I think what matches that are the performances. Adrien Brody gives probably the best performance I've seen this year. Like, I think he's probably going to win an Oscar for this. He's at least going to get nominated, but I think he's going to win because what he gave us here is this really complex character. Like, he's someone you're rooting for, but he has issues. He's not perfect. And he knows it too. He has his flaws. And there are so many great scenes where we see Adrien Brody really expressing that. There are scenes where he's really affected by what's happening. He's really sad. But then as the movie progresses and he starts gaining more confidence and he starts to become brutal as well. And I just think that character shift from point A to point B is done beautifully. And like I said, it's probably the best performance of the year I've seen. I mean, I really like to think about that, but I would be shocked if he's not at least nominated. And I really like Guy Pearce here. He brings a lot of comedy here. This film is actually pretty funny. I was not expecting that. But this was a film I really didn't know what to expect, to be honest. I saw the trailer, the teaser, and I thought it looked incredible. And I was hearing that it's getting a lot of Oscar buzz. I think it might be the favorite to win Best Picture. And I really did enjoy this film. It's crafted huge. It's crafted beautifully. The performances are great. And it has a lot to say. And I was thinking about this film for a while after I've seen it. But I don't think it's perfect. This is one of my favorite films of the year, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. There's a few that I definitely like better. And I guess the only issue I really have with this film is the runtime. I totally understand why it's this long. Like, I get it. This is a big epic story about pursuing the American dream, and the movie really doesn't hold back any punches, and I really appreciate it for that. But the movie is, at the end of the day, 3.5 hours long. It's very dialogue heavy, and I'm not gonna lie, there are parts of this movie that definitely drag. I think all the characters here are extremely interesting, and there's a lot to be said. Performances are great, and the story overall is very engaging. But I can't lie, like, I definitely felt the runtime of this movie. It's a movie I probably won't see ever again. I'm glad I've watched it, and like I said, it's kind of affected me. But I wouldn't say it's the best of the year. I think it's one of the best of the year. It's this big epic film that is crafted beautifully, has a lot to say with great performances, a great script, and I can see why it's getting all this buzz. And I think a lot of people are really going to love this film. But I will warn you, if you're interested in watching this film and you don't really like those Oscar-type artsy movies, I really don't think you're going to like this because of that runtime and a lot of those scenes where we see a lot of things just sort of play out. So if you like that type of stuff, I think you're really going to enjoy this film. I really did. I just didn't think it was perfect, but I really do acknowledge the scale of this film and how beautifully it's shot and the performances, and this really is such an accomplishment. I just would go in maybe managing your expectations a little bit, but overall, I really was impressed by this film. I'm going to give The Brutalist 8.5 Davey Daves. Yeah, this really is a beast of a movie. I got to see this in like real film, and there was an intermission, which was pretty cool, but it just shows how long this film is. So, The Brutalist. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear, and thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Davey's Takes.